The vast, desolate expanse of West Texas, known for its rugged beauty and oil fields, experienced an unexpected jolt on May 3, 2025. A magnitude 5.3 earthquake rippled through the region, shaking the ground and startling residents from El Paso to Midland. While the earthquake caused minimal damage in the sparsely populated area, it served as a stark reminder of the powerful forces that shape our planet. The event also ignited discussions about the potential role of human activities in triggering such seismic events. The earthquake's epicenter was located approximately 35 miles south of White City, New Mexico, in Culberson County, Texas. This puts it about 125 miles east of El Paso. The tremor struck at 7:47 p.m. Mountain Time, sending vibrations across state lines. Residents in parts of Texas, New Mexico, and even northern Mexico reported feeling the earth move. The earthquake occurred at a depth of nearly 4 miles below the surface. West Texas sits atop a complex network of ancient fault lines. These faults are fractures in the Earth's crust, where rocks have shifted past each other. While many of these faults have remained dormant for centuries, they are not immune to the forces that constantly reshape our planet. The region lies within the Basin and Range Province, a geographically active area stretching from Mexico to the Pacific Northwest. This province is characterized by alternating mountain ranges and valleys formed by tectonic plate movement. The ongoing stretching and pulling of the Earth's crust in this region make it prone to earthquakes. The Magnitude 5.3 earthquake was not an isolated event. It was part of a larger sequence of seismic activities that had been building up over time. It was preceded by a series of smaller tremors, known as foreshocks, that began in early April 2025. These initial tremors were subtle, often going unnoticed by the general population, but they were carefully recorded by seismic monitoring equipment. These foreshocks, while significantly weaker than the main event, signaled increased seismic activity in the area. Researchers noted a gradual increase in both the frequency and intensity of these smaller quakes, which served as a warning of the impending larger earthquake. A total of 46 earthquakes were recorded in the weeks leading up to May 3rd. This unusual spike in seismic activity caught the attention of geologists and seismologists, who began to closely monitor the region for signs of a major event. Two other notable tremors, measuring magnitudes 3.4 and 2.9, occurred on the same night as the main earthquake. These tremors, though smaller, were significant enough to be felt by residents in nearby towns, adding to the growing concern. This pattern of increasing seismic activity culminating in a larger earthquake is a common occurrence in earthquake-prone regions. It highlights the importance of continuous monitoring and preparedness in areas susceptible to seismic events. Understanding these patterns can help mitigate the impact of future earthquakes and save lives. While the exact cause of any earthquake is difficult to pinpoint, scientists believe both natural and human-induced factors likely contributed to the May 3rd event. Earthquakes are complex phenomena that result from the sudden release of energy in the Earth's crust, creating seismic waves. This energy release is often due to the movement of tectonic plates, which are massive slabs of the Earth's lithosphere that fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. When these plates grind against each other, they can become stuck due to friction. Over time, stress builds up until it is released in the form of an earthquake. This natural process is well documented and has been occurring for millions of years. The presence of pre-existing fault lines in the region provides the necessary conditions for earthquakes to occur. These fault lines are fractures in the Earth's crust where blocks of land have moved past each other. They are often the sites of significant seismic activity because they represent zones of weakness in the crust. When stress along these fault lines exceeds the strength of rocks, it results in an earthquake. The geological history of an area can often be traced through the study of these fault lines, revealing patterns of past seismic activity. However, human activities, particularly those related to the oil and gas industry, may be increasing the frequency and intensity of these events. Activities such as hydraulic fracturing or fracking involve injecting high-pressure fluid into subterranean rocks to extract oil or gas. This process can create new fractures or expand existing ones, potentially altering the stress distribution in the Earth's crust. Additionally, the extraction of oil and gas can lead to subsidence, or the gradual sinking of the ground, which can also contribute to seismic activity. Deep wastewater injection, a process used to dispose of wastewater produced during oil and gas extraction, has come under scrutiny. This method involves injecting large volumes of wastewater deep underground, often into porous rock formations. While this is an effective way to manage wastewater, it can have unintended consequences. The injected water can increase the pore pressure within the rock formations, reducing the friction that holds the rocks together and making it easier for them to slip and cause an earthquake. This process involves injecting large volumes of wastewater deep underground. The volume and pressure of the injected water are critical factors that can influence the likelihood of induced seismicity. In some cases, the injected water can migrate along fault lines, further increasing the risk of triggering an earthquake. Monitoring and regulating the volume and pressure of wastewater injections are essential steps in mitigating these risks. While this practice is considered safe under normal circumstances, it can increase pressure within the Earth's crust, potentially triggering earthquakes in areas already under stress. The increased pressure can cause existing faults to slip, leading to seismic events. This is particularly concerning in regions with a history of seismic activity, where the crust is already under significant stress. Understanding the relationship between wastewater injection and seismicity is an ongoing area of research, with scientists working to develop models that can predict the conditions under which induced earthquakes are most likely to occur. Alexandros Savvaidis, a research professor at the University of Texas Bureau of Economic Geology, expressed concern that wastewater injection increases pressure in an already stressed area, potentially triggering earthquakes. His research focuses on understanding the mechanisms behind induced seismicity and developing strategies to mitigate its impact. By studying the patterns of seismic activity in regions with extensive oil and gas operations, Savvaidis and his team aim to identify the factors that contribute to increased seismic risk and provide recommendations for safer wastewater disposal practices. There's concern seismicity could spread closer to populated areas. As oil and gas operations expand, the potential for induced seismicity in regions near populated areas increases. This raises important questions about the safety and sustainability of these practices. Communities located near oil and gas extraction sites are particularly vulnerable to the impacts of induced earthquakes, which can cause damage to infrastructure and pose risks to public safety. Ongoing research and monitoring are essential to ensure that the benefits of energy extraction do not come at the expense of increased seismic risk. Despite its magnitude, the May 3rd earthquake caused minimal damage and no reported injuries. The sparsely populated nature of the area meant that there were few structures to be affected. The USGS reported that the risk of ground failure, landslides, and liquefaction was low. However, the earthquake did generate considerable anxiety and concern among residents, many of whom had never experienced a tremor of this magnitude before. The May 3rd earthquake is the latest in a series of significant seismic events to strike Texas in recent years. This event has once again brought the spotlight onto the state's growing seismic activity, which has been a cause for concern among residents and scientists alike. The tremors have not only caused physical damage, but have also shaken the sense of security in many communities. While not traditionally considered an earthquake-prone state, Texas has experienced a surge in earthquake activity, particularly in the western and southern regions. Historically, Texas was known more for its oil fields and vast landscapes than for seismic activity. However, the recent uptick in earthquakes has changed that perception. The areas most affected include regions that were previously thought to be relatively stable, geologically speaking. Several earthquakes with magnitudes exceeding 5.0 have been recorded in the past few years, including a 5.4 magnitude quake in Reeves County in 2022. This particular quake was one of the strongest ever recorded in the state and caused significant damage to infrastructure and homes. The residents of Reeves County are still recovering from the impact, both physically and emotionally. The increasing frequency and intensity of these events have raised concerns about the potential for a major earthquake in the future. Many residents are worried about the safety of their homes and the stability of the ground beneath their feet. Local governments and emergency services are also on high alert, preparing for the possibility of more severe seismic events. Scientists continue to study the link between human activities and earthquake activity, hoping to better understand and mitigate the risks associated with these powerful natural disasters. Research is ongoing to determine the exact causes of this increase in seismic activity, with some studies suggesting a connection to activities such as fracking and wastewater injection. By gaining a deeper understanding of these factors, scientists aim to develop strategies to reduce the likelihood of future earthquakes and to better protect the communities at risk. The May 3rd earthquake left a lasting impression on those who felt its tremors. Phyllis Favela, a resident of El Paso, described her experience. "I felt the shaking and my chairs moved." Sandy Hernandez, another El Paso resident, remarked that it was the longest earthquake I have felt here. In Santa Teresa, New Mexico, Brian Antonio reported feeling 5 to 6 lateral jolts during the earthquake. These first-hand accounts highlight the widespread impact of the earthquake, even in areas relatively far from the epicenter. Earthquakes are a fact of life in many parts of the world, including Texas. While it is impossible to predict when or where an earthquake will occur, there are steps residents can take to prepare for these events and stay safe during and after a tremor. Securing heavy objects, creating a family emergency plan, and having a disaster supply kit are just a few of the measures individuals and families can take to enhance their safety and resilience in earthquake-prone areas. By understanding the risks and taking appropriate precautions, residents can minimize the potential impact of these unpredictable natural disasters.